Great. Great. So yeah, welcome again to cohort 2 of the AV Skill Labs. As we said, it's happening every 2 weeks starting 10th of July. So the last session was 10th of July. And then this is the second session happening today on the 24th of July, and specifically touching on a few pieces. So just in case you weren't here for the first session, just a brief idea of what Africa VUCA is. So Africa, as you know, the name, but VUCA is a word that means two things for the network. One, in Swahili, it means to cross over. And secondly, in isiZulu, means to rise up. So the idea of this name is meaning that we're requesting or encouraging the continent to wake up and rise up and lead the transition to renewable energy, and obviously just renewable energy. So we have a network of about 400 local groups across different parts of the continent. And if you want to join or be part of that network, please visit us at africavuca.org and register yourself to join. So today last time we talked about the DRE campaigns in the network. We ran through it. We talked about the community-led case studies from Ghana, and then we had a Q&A station and more. But then this day will be a bit different. But before we go into that, just giving you a clue that this is a 6-part training series. So it's 6 weeks spread out across 3 months. So that can give you time to internalize and practice some of the pieces that you're getting from this training. There will be a certificate awarded at the end of the 6 sessions. And then finally, in case of internet issues, just flag it to me or any member of our team so we can share the recording. But we will also be sharing all the recordings and the slides that can be shared after every end of every session. So last time we spoke about the training menu, and like I said, we talked about the community-led RE, and we touched down and had a case study, a real-life case study of what's happening in Ghana and how we can adopt that or get inspiration from that. And today we're going to speak about what are the community gaps that you're trying to fill. As you know, like we said, if you're trying to build your team, you need to have a sense of what are you trying to solve? What is the problem you're trying to solve? But at the same time, what is the solution you want to bring? And this is where research and information and data on what's already available about what's the data around your community, what's available data about your community that you can use to really support your team to be able to really fill a gap that already exists. Like we said, we don't want to be in the business of solving problems that don't exist or offering solutions that are not needed. So that's where data and research comes in. And we have a brilliant opportunity today to hear from 3 brilliant experts from the different spaces. And I will introduce them in a few minutes so you can have a sense of who's in the room. So today we'll speak about solar or wind and etc. And why are you picking this energy over the other, or why should you even pick renewable energy to begin with? So we'll have 3 experts. That will be a friend of mine, Nana Safiato, who will be coming in from AfriSed. They will be having Joseph Ibrahim, who will be stepping in for GIFSEP and talking about the story of coal-free Nigeria. And then finally, we'll welcome Dr. Emmanuel Essa from the University of Reading, who will also talk about just the technical aspects of, solar, wind, etc. So I don't want to take too much time because today I think it will be a bit different. You won't hear more of me, but more of our friends who have joined us to really share their expertise. And with that, I will want to welcome Nana to say hello and also share her expertise with us. And do you need access, and will you be using slides?
Yes. I will share my screen.
You should have access now.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. Thank you, Rukia. Thank you for the introduction, and thank you for inviting me to join this training session. Good morning, everyone. Safiatou Nana, Head of Program at the NGO named AfriSed, the African Center for Climate Energy and Sustainable Development. This morning, I'm joining from Johannesburg, but I'm based in Burkina Faso. So I'm currently in Johannesburg for our network meeting. So thank you again. So to kick off this relevant presentation and discussion around community research-based advocacy to really bring renewable energy for our communities, I'll start with the global context where in 2 years ago in Dubai, after the COP results included the global renewable and energy efficiency pledge that was signed by more than 130 countries globally, including African countries. So basically, this pledge is about is for countries to triple the renewable energy capacity to transition away from fossil fuel, but by also doubling the energy efficiency by 2030. And that is the most realistic means as presented to reduce the global emissions of greenhouse gases by 43% by 2030. So that's the global scene. At the African level, we also have our head of states who convened at the Africa Climate Week and decided also to really increase the renewable energy capacity on the continent up to 300 gigawatts. And that means that countries have to evaluate their renewable energy ambitions with the submission of new indices. They also have to reflect these new ambitions for renewable energy in the indices, the nationally determined contributions that are country plans to reduce greenhouse gas emissions at the country level. And also with that, there's also the NCQG that was discussed at COP, quantified finance implications to match the ambition with implementation in the countries. Please let me know if I'm a bit fast so that I can slow down for the translation.
No, you're
Yeah?
perfect. The pace is fine.
Okay. Yes, so the Nairobi Declaration that our African countries have agreed to host at least 300 gigawatt of renewable energy generation capacity in Africa by 2030. So the current amount of the installed capacity is 56 gigawatt. So you see, it's a big ambition to get to 300 in the next 5 years. Yeah. So that will not come only from government projects or only from the utilities, but there is a high need for communities to also take up lead in financing or even mobilizing resources and technology to have their own systems and manage their own renewable energy system for their needs. There's a high need for us as CSOs, as activists, to really advocate for this to be a reality in Africa. Let's start with a quick quiz. I cannot see the chat, but I'll be posting some questions you may answer in the chat. Put your responses in the chat as I move with the quick questions. So the first one is, according to you, what is the largest renewable energy capacity? Which African country has the largest renewable energy capacity? Please write in the chat what you think is the answer. I see Kenya, South Africa. Yeah, okay, so The answer is South Africa, yes. Some people have got the right answer. In fact, South Africa has about 10.62 gigawatts as of 2023, and that is corresponding to 17% of Africa's total renewable energy capacity for 2023. Second question. What is the African country that has the largest solar farm? Largest solar farm in Africa? Which country do you think it is? Morocco. And that's true. That's Morocco. Morocco has the new Wazawat complex in the Sahara. It's a CSP system made of solar concentrated system in terms of like mirrors that are used for those solar system. And the capacity is about 580 megawatts, and the size is equal to, equivalent to 3,500 football fields. You can imagine how huge this looks like in Morocco. Next, which African country has the biggest wind farm? Biggest wind farm. South Africa, Kenya, Egypt. Okay, all right, so Kenya wins it. It's in Kenya with the Lake Turkana Wind Project, which is the largest wind power farm and single largest private investment in Kenya. The size is about 310 megawatts, and it's financed by Power Africa from the US. Okay. So the continent really has a big potential for renewable energy. As you can see on the map here, we have the solar system, the solar resources almost in all countries in Africa from north to south. Also have geothermal that is very much present in the eastern part, mainly in Kenya, for instance, and also wind for wind production, and also the hydro, mainly in the central part of Africa. So the continent is very rich. We host more than 39% of the world renewable energy potential, and that is about 50 times the global anticipated electricity demand that can be met by the capacity of the resources that we have in Africa. Yeah, so this is really huge, but some solution or some project in Kenya may not always be the right solution for another country like Mali or Angola or some any other country. So because the context really matter, yeah. What do you know about renewable energy technology or the community setups? Another set of quiz questions. Keep writing your answers in the chat. Which is not a solar system, energy system among these four? Which one do you think? Is it A, B, C, or D? Which one is not a solar energy system? I see C, A, and the answer is B. So the question was a bit tricky. It says, which one is not a solar energy system? So the solar biomass converter is not a solar energy system because it doesn't even exist. So it's just I hope you can still can you still see my slides?
Yes, we can.
Okay. All right. So next one, which setting is most suitable for installing a solar mini grid? Do you think solar mini grids are best for densely populated urban center with national grid access, a rural village with no grid connection, or a refugee camp that is already powered by diesel, or a mining site operated by a multinational? Type your answers, A, B, C, or D. Yes, you got it. So the answer is B, a rural village that has no grid connections, because the mini grids we fill the gap in those kind of rural settings. And almost the last question, what is the biggest challenge in bringing wind power to inland Sahelian regions? Is it because there is too much rain in the Sahel? Is it because of the lack of qualified engineers, low or inconsistent wind speeds, lack of wind turbines? Someone answered C, someone said D, and the answer is, sorry, the answer is C, the low and inconsistent wind speed, because we really need to have enough wind speeds to make a wind system work in a community or a region. Then the next one, what type of renewable energy system is best suited for a nomadic pastoralist community? Is it an hydropower dam, a solar backup system, a rooftop solar system, or portable solar home systems? Yeah. So the answer is D, a portable solar home system, because we're talking about nomadic pastoralist communities who, so here we have to like consider the lifestyle of the community we are trying to help. So why does this matters? Because when we jump into advocacy or campaign, or even providing a system for a community, we always have to analyze the community first, get to know their lifestyle, their cultural beliefs, the setting of the homes. Are there in small groups of homes, or is it like a big setting where everyone is around the same area, or is it there is distance between the groups? Or so we really have to consider everything in the community. What is the knowledge of the community? Because when we don't do this research, then we'll end up pushing for technology that is not matching the local needs, or we may miss some key actors who can hold influence to really increase, to really bring the energy system and make it work for the community. And the other risk is also that we may design solutions that the community doesn't trust, or they cannot operate it, and at the end it goes to waste because it's not fitting. So to advocate effectively for renewables, we must understand who are our people, what are their needs, and what is already happening on the ground. What do they have in terms of resources, and what are the technologies that can be fitting for them? The renewable energy projects can be on providing access for clean cooking, for instance. It can be power for productive uses in terms of solar pumping, for instance, or solar cold storage for keeping the harvest in villages, for instance. I would remove the energy efficiency here because if we take the example of rural communities where there is no energy, then the energy efficiency may not be the immediate problem we want to solve because they need energy first, yeah? And then also power for access to health, education, power or renewable energy systems for access to water, food, or even as a means for peace, for keeping people in a peace life in their community. Clean transportation, power for industrial development, if we want to really have industries in those communities. So what should we be researching? The key, so these are 8 main key points, but you may also add more to that. So first of all, what are the energy needs of the community? Do they need energy for health, for hospitals, for them to make the machines work? Is it for agriculture, for cooking, or is it for schooling, for the schools to have lighting? Yeah. The second is the local resources. What resources does the community have? Is it sun? Is it solar or wind? Which one is the most prominent or has better capacity to power the community? Next is the infrastructure. What is existing? Is it do they have access to the grid or not? Do they have access to roads, storage systems, etc.? And what are the existing initiatives? Are there other stakeholders who are working with the community already? What are they providing? What is missing so that we can make the efforts complementary and not duplicate, yeah? Number 5, who are the power players? Are there chiefs that can influence, church leaders that can influence, or local government who can also help in mobilizing the resources or even influencing the decisions at the national government level, etc. Number 6, what are the community capacity? Are people ready to own and manage the system? Or do we need to bring external people to handle the system in the community? And how can it be done, etc.? What are the barriers in terms of security in the community? You know, if we install the solar system, how do we ensure that they are secure and functional in the long run? Affordability as well. What are the economic capacity of the people? What are their technical skills, etc., etc.? And also, what are the local hopes? What do people dream of changing? What are their plans? Do we have a community where majority of people are looking to move to the urban areas, or what are the local hopes and the cultural setting in that community, etc.? Okay, so in Africa, the discussion around renewable energy, the advocacy is really increasing over the years, but we must make sure that our advocacy is not imported. We don't want to import solutions from outside blindly. We have to really make it fit to the context of the communities. If we take the example of carbon credits, for instance, these are some of the global north solutions to keep polluting, and it does not fit with the African needs, yeah? Community-based research is not a delay. If we don't take the time to do it, then we we're heading to failure. Yeah, it's how we build our campaigns, energy projects that will work and last and truly shift the power, put it in the hand of the communities. And that, I will say thank you, and happy to take some questions. Thank you, Ukia.
Thank you so much, Nana. This was brilliant. I think I'm not the only one who's enjoyed it quite well. And I know we'd want to take some questions now. So I'd ask if you have questions, please put them on the Q&A space or just put them on the chat and Nana will address them. And just for that, I would want to pass it to Dr. Emmanuel, just so we can kind of move in that space. I think Nana, you've talked about the technical aspects, so Dr. Emmanuel can also touch on that as well. And then now you'll hear at the end with from Joseph Ibrahim from GIFSEP on an actual example of now you know about research, you know what you need to do. So how does that work in the setup of a community? So welcome, Dr. Emmanuel. And please continue putting your questions if you have questions for Nana. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll share my screen. Okay, so thank you very much, Nana, for making my work easy, because I'm not going to go into all those backgrounds again. My name is Emmanuel Essa. I prefer not to use my title in most circles, but feel free to do what makes you happy, but I would rather you also consider me and make me happy by not using my title. I'm currently sitting in UK where I'm working in the University of Reading. I am a Ghanaian. I don't think my accent has changed that much, and I've been here for a long time. I am a Ghanaian, so I understand what is going on on the continent. Thank you, Rukia. Thank you, the team, for inviting me for this session. Very briefly, I'm sorry I'm in so many places, but I'm keen to have a longer session where I'll give you all the technicalities of this, so work with me. Nana talked about our role as advocates, and I just want to ask us, why do we advocate? Why is it important? Don't answer that question, but think about it. There were bits that Nana brought up about the fact that you have to understand the basis of why you advocate. And if we are looking at ourselves as advocates, then we have to understand why we do that. And I've just put a short definition here. That someone who advocates wants to have a voice in the outer space and make recommendations or make suggestions, but you can only make recommendations if you understand the subject content. And I think that is very vital to what we do. If you don't understand the basics, then your recommendation is shallow. It has no weighting. It has no footing, and that's not what we want to do. So why we do that and how we do that is based on the knowledge we have in our respective portfolios. So talking about the knowledge we have, let me test your knowledge. There's a QR code. Can you scan the QR code? Today is like a question day. Nana gave you so many questions. I'm going to add mine as well. So it's a question day for us. I'm looking at, you should have free access. There shouldn't be any restrictions. You should be able to answer all the questions. I'm just looking at the solutions that you give me and then take it from there. So as you do that, it will populate. I'll show you a graph of it, and then we take it from there. Okay, so I think there's been only 4 response. Okay, 5. Yeah. Okay, it keeps coming. So it shows that the QR code is working, which is good. Let me see if I can move it into the shared space. Do you see it in the shared space? Yes or no?
Yes, we can see.
Okay, so you can see the results populating, right?
Yes, we can see the results.
Okay. So we are talking about primary energy sources, fossil fuel, nuclear, renewable 6, 1. Okay, good. I'll move on. To be honest, all of these are primary energy sources to a large extent. So you're looking at primary energy sources from that to a large extent. When I carry on in this space, the energy sources are populated here. The fundamentals. We have the bits where we can consider them as alternative energy sources and so on and so forth because of their energy base. Okay, now we've looked at these, but the next question is which of these are actually sustainable? Let's move on to the next question. Which of these are actually sustainable? All those sources we've looked at, the nuclear, let me put this up. Which of these are sustainable? So as you answer, just think about sustainability, the basis of sustainability, and I'm hoping we understand the concept of sustainability. So that would inform how we answer that question. Which of these are sustainable? Just write them in. Is it what do you think they are? Just look back on the other question and populate those. Okay, so I have one response, and the response says it's the renewable energy. 2, solar energy. Okay, good. The response are coming in, so that's great. And I'll pull this back in so you see your own response. Water, waves, sun, amazing. As these are populating, I think in all these sustainability is having that aspect of something that will be there for quite a long time without being detrimental to the environment. So answers coming in. Thank you very much. Let me pull this back out. Now, looking at the element of sustainability, of course, we all know fossil fuels is not sustainable. It's adding to the global warming. Nuclear, because of its radiative waste, we are not going to accept it as sustainable. Biofuel is interesting. It depends on the mix, but it has a high content of sustainability. Wind, the same, but the challenge is the land mass that wind needs. Does it still make it sustainable? I'll leave that to us. I'm here to provoke and get something out of you. And then we look at hydroelectric. The dams, we have to dam places, the water bodies, the destruction that it causes. Understanding these and the benefits from these are very key. Geothermal, its impact very low. Tidal, solar very low, but you can, I think it was Nana mentioned the solar farm up north, and you're looking at 35,000 football fields. That's land mass that could have been used to do other things. So sustainability, depending on how you advocate for it, you have a voice. So when you're advocating, try and understand the angle for which you're advocating, because another group will say, yes, solar will give us renewable energy, but we are taking the lands from farmers. So understanding how we propose or put our thoughts together is very key. Water waves as well in that line. I think one of the key concerns, and I'll just take solar because of the timing. One of the key concerns is how we perceive solar, and that to me is an amazing phenomena. And I'll just ask all of you, if you look at these regions in the world, where would you put solar panels? Is it in A? Is it in B? Is it in C? Is it in D? I'll not ask you the why question, but where do you think solar panels will be best placed to be installed? Okay, so again, a QR code coming up for us to answer. so that I can get your responses. Where would you place solar? Solar PV, solar thermal, CSPs, where do you think? But we'll currently stay on PV, not the thermal, because of the following concepts. But solar PV, where would you place it? Where would you place solar PV? Is it A? Is it B? Is it C? Is it D? Is it where?
A lot of responses in the chat for you.
A lot of responses in the chat. Sorry, I've not been looking at that one. Sorry. Okay, I'm getting this. Let me see what I can find from the chat. This is multitasking at its best. Oh man, I need
I
to
can help
multitask
you.
better.
So there's a lot of A's.
There's a lot of A's. Thank you.
A lot of D's. There's a
lot
D.
of B's. There's a D.
2 D's. Yeah.
Okay, there's a D. Thank you very much. So I can see a lot of A's, a lot of, well, one C, a lot of D's, Rukia, as you said. Okay. It's an amazing concept, but my only concern is that when it comes to PV, and sorry to break the bubble, but when it comes to PV, then A is not the best place for PV simply because of the temperature. Immediately the solar panels reach 25 degrees. Any degree above 25 degrees, the efficiency of the panel starts dropping. So we have to have a mechanism for cooling the panels. We have to have a mechanism for airflow to be underneath the panels because we do not want temperature sustained beyond 25 degrees. And when you have time, just type into Google standard test conditions for solar panels, and that will come up. And that is the disadvantage we have in the A zone. So ideally, your best place of putting these panels will be B and C. Because the temperature will be right, but then there's no sunlight, so people would say that the constant irradiance levels of 1,000 watts per square meter is also not going to be there. So some of the influencing factors are the technology. The other influencing factors are the orientation, the tilt, and then the shading and the temperature. And I've talked about the temperature, but I'll bring that back in. But when it comes to technology, the choice of technology is also key. The best technology for everywhere is the monocrystalline. And that is currently around 20% efficient. So the entire panels we work with, the maximum efficiency when it comes as a module is about 20 to 25% efficient. The rest of the efficiency losses, I can tell you why another day. We have to go into some technicalities there. When you look at the amorphous, it's only about 8% efficient. The dye sensitized is about 5% efficient. And the crystalline is very low efficiency. So immediately start looking at solar panels. Please go for monocrystalline to maximize the efficiencies. This is what I'm talking about, some terminology. So your panel or your system has to operate efficiently under 1,000 watts per square meter. That is a clear sky. Immediately have a clear sky and the sun is coming through, your external temperatures are around 20 degrees. That means your solar panel will be more than 25 degrees. The efficiency starts dropping. That is the biggest challenge we have in the field. And a few terminologies there I've highlighted. The characteristics of the module is called the IV curve. So a module is rated on its watt peak, and the watt peak is considered to be the total wattage of the panel at the IV characteristics. I've asked Lukia to give us a day so that I go in depth into these. So temperature is a key issue. The other thing is orientation. And I find it very upsetting when I think Nana mentioned that we should stop, but we should learn the basics so that we are not being informed by people in a different light. And I had opportunity to come to Kenya, Nairobi, and Nairobi is just below the equator, which means that it is slightly south of the equator. So all the panels have to face the equator. That means the panels have to face north. If you ask Ruki, I think I was ranting and raving. Why are all the panels facing south? So the farther is facing south, you've even lost some of the energy because your orientation is bad to start with. The efficiency is 20%. You cannot lose anymore. So orient it properly. So as you walk around and you look at solar panels, have a compass on your phone and check whether the compasses are telling you the orientation of the panel. Ideally, if you're in the north, it has to face the equator, so it has to face south. If you're in the south of the equator, it has to face the north. And the equator, because that's where the global constant is at its maximum. As you move away from the equator, your tilt angle increases, and therefore you have about 30 degrees. Those of us who are very close to the equator, our tilt angle is very low. So sorry about the noise. So for instance, Ghana, the panels have to be oriented around 5 to 10 degrees facing south. But I go to Ghana and these panels are oriented about 45 degrees, 30 degrees, loss of energy. Currently, the biggest installers and producers of, sorry. The biggest installers and producers of solar is China. China is leading the way. The rest of the world have to catch up. Nana told us about the biggest installers in Africa. We have the landmass, we have the potential, let's do more. The totality of renewable energy in the world is still small, but even if you drill down and you look at solar is currently only about 1.7%. I think it's moved to about 2.5% worldwide. So my biggest question is, can we really rely on solar to replace fossil fuel? And that's provoking because everybody says that we should move away from fossil fuels, but we cannot advocate for that without giving a solution. And that solution cannot just be, let's have solar because of the little insight I've given, or let's have wind because they have a lot of variabilities, as Nana said, or let's have hydro because not everybody has a river body, or let's have geothermal because not everybody has the crust or the leveling down there to build the temperature difference that we need. So when we are advocating, let's advocate with the basis and knowledge so that the people are convinced. So we as advocates are not seen to be a laughing stock, but understand the concepts to which we are presenting. Rukia asked me to give a few softwares. You can download these for free, engage with them. If you want data about the weather conditions, go to the NASA website. It's free. You don't have to pay for anything. There's a whole software list in the other bits as well. Red Screen, software on solar, SAM, SMA, software on wind, solar, biomass, and PV systems, some softwares as well. Have a play with them. And by all means understand these bases. Very short, very brief because of time, but thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Emmanuel. That was brilliant. I know you've left a lot of people flabbergasted with questions. They're like, okay, so what next now for communities, right? And that's the whole discussion and the whole point of this space, to really deeply ask ourselves and each other different questions that are crucial. So as you're thinking about your question, because I know you guys are also thinking about your questions, please post them on the chat. And we'll take it to Joe, who can now tell you about what they're doing in the community, how they use research from a community in Nigeria. And I won't even preempt his story, but I want him to take over. And then now we'll go straight into like discussions for the whole space. Welcome, Joseph.
Thank you, Rukia. Hello, everyone. just to confirm, you can all see my screen. And thank you very much to Nana and Dr. Emmanuel for setting the pace for this conversation. You have already talked largely about solar. I will just want to speak briefly on the reality that many communities in Africa face. And some of the work that we did, sorry about that. Some of the work that we did around communities that are impacted by fossil fuel extraction and coal mining communities. So I will start basically on how we use research and then from the findings from those research and design advocacy campaigns and then move to solutions work with the communities. So for some of us who might be new and you are hearing, oh, you need to research, it's important for you to do research. Why is it important to do research for community work, particularly if you want to work with rural communities who are already being impacted by fossil fuel extraction? One of the few things that we found that it helps you to communicate why your campaign or your intervention is necessary to the community when you have the facts and you have the data. And that is what research will give you. Another one is that it shows that you don't have an ulterior motive. So the reality on ground is that many communities, we believe that, oh, as a non-governmental organization, you have received some funds from external interests to come and perpetrate what you want to do. So if you have not done your research that shows you what the community is going through, what their needs are, why it is important, the community might tag you as having ulterior motive, and then you will not have the support of the community. Also, it helps you to know who is wrong and what kind of support the community needs. Without research, you might not have some very important details of what has happened, for instance, between a community and a fossil fuel extraction company. You don't know who has wronged who. From the outside, you would assume that, oh, the fossil fuel company is shortchanging the community. But without research, you will not know who is in the wrong. So that is very, very important. And then most importantly, for the purpose of advocacy, research will help you to know who you will target your message to. For your advocacy to be effective, you need to target your message, and it is only through research that you can viably understand who you need to target your message to. So just to give a background on some of the work that we did in Nigeria. So Nigeria has huge deposits of coal deposits and behind South Africa in the continent. But for a long time, the coal has been underground. In the 1960s, Nigeria did some work where we extracted coal, but naturally, it died a natural death. And my boss, who is Dr. David Michael, sometime in 2014 went to South Africa and went to a community, a coal mining community, where he saw the devastating impact of coal mining on that community. And then after he came back to Nigeria, few weeks later, we started hearing talks about the Nigerian government exploring coal as an alternative to generate electricity. I'm sure some of you already know the challenges that Nigeria has with electricity, and the government was beginning to look at coal as a viable alternative. And that experience that he saw in South Africa was like, oh, we don't want this in Nigeria, and even if we have to go that route, it has to be sustainable, and then the need and the interest of the community had to be at the forefront. And so we decided to commission a research to know what exactly is the status of coal mining in Nigeria. At that time, there was no viable report that we could rely on where coal is being mined, who are those mining the coal, what exactly are they doing with the coal that they are mining. And with the help of 350 Africa, we commissioned that report in 2019 and to know exactly what the status of coal mining is in Nigeria, which is a research, as we said. So all of that, and I will just go straight to what our findings were, some of the findings that we saw. So our findings, we got to know that coal is being mined at that time, 2019, was in Kogi, Benue, and Gombe State. And then we found out that there were three companies that were responsible for this. We had Dangote Cement, Ashaka Cement, and Ethel Zuma. So you will see that two cement companies were the ones responsible for mining coal from our research. And what we saw was that the two cement companies were using the coal to power their cement plant, while the third one was Etazuma, which was like a company trading coal. So they mine coal and then they sell it either to cement companies or other manufacturers outside of Africa. And these were all found out through research. And as we continue to dig further, one of the key things that we saw was that generally in Nigeria, the mining law, and which is also very similar across Africa, the mining company needs to development agreement with the host community. That is one of the prerequisites for them to receive a mining license. But through our research, we found out that the mining company received a license without an approved community development agreement from the host community, and that was a violation of the law. So what we did with those findings, we also tested the water bodies in the communities, streams, and then we saw that it was contaminated. So all of these gave us foundation to design a campaign, which is the coal-free Nigeria campaign. We needed Nigeria to be free from coal, but was driven by majorly two of those findings, that the land of those communities are degraded, their water bodies are they are not able to consume it, and then we also have that the interests of the communities were not taken care of. So we started with community engagement to first interface with the community to tell them what we saw, and also listening, get feedback from them exactly what happened. So we had a lot of community engagement. Then we had a lot of training on campaigning, how they need to push back the company, and all of that. We had digital campaigns, petitions, we wrote letters to the federal government, the Ministry of Environment, sent letters there and the like. We had street marches, all of this to create awareness and put pressure on government to do the right thing. Digital action, social media, webinars that we held, a lot of actions to put pressure. So what were some of the results we saw as a result of all of these campaign activities? We had a very strong partnership with the host community because of the research that we have done, and the host community have trust in us, and then that was the ground for stronger partnership. The campaign was very vibrant, and one of the things we saw is that the community development agreement that was not signed, the coal mining company, which was at that point was Dangote Coal Mine, went back to the community to sign a community development agreement which promised to provide them alternative source of water and also electricity. So that was, in a way, the community got something out of the entire thing. At the end, the community resisted the coal mining company and they left the community. And the federal government also asked the coal mining company to conduct another environmental impact assessment. So those were some of the results that we saw as a result of the campaigns that we did. But very important, it didn't just stop there. Okay, we needed to show the alternative. If we are telling the communities that they should, and we are saying the impact of coal is devastating for their community, which they all attested to, what then is the alternative, and how can we show them that those alternatives are viable? So we uh, came up with some kind of solutions work to show them that yes, you can transition. The needs that you need for electricity can have small solar systems. And for this community, their energy requirements are not large. They usually just need lighting to charge their phones, and maybe many of them don't even have televisions. So basically, their requirements are phones and then lightning at night to do some basic domestic work. So we showed them that with that, solar can help, and that will the project we started, which is the solar for community, showing them that yes, the alternative is solar and it works for them, so that they also can either demand that from the coal mining company as well as the government. So we also saw that because of what we have done, the communities are now advocating more for solar as an alternative for their community. We also did a lot of training about adaptation because many of them have been the mining activities have impacted them in terms of water and in terms of their land for agriculture. So we train them on rainwater harvesting so that they don't depend solely on the community stream. Install rainwater harvesting where communities can harvest their water and use, and then also provided clean cooking solution for them. So that is that. Thank you very much. I'm here for any questions.
Thank you so much, Joseph. And thank you for taking time to tell the story of coal-free Nigeria, how far you've started. And sadly, I know there's like that 28 minutes left. And that's why I was saying today we won't talk much. I won't talk much. I will leave the experts to speak more. So I want to thank, Dr. Emmanuel, Joseph, and Nana for this amazing presentations. And thank you for everyone who's been leaving their questions on the floor. So yeah, continue leaving questions for Joe. But before Dr. Emmanuel leaves, there's a question you put around, so how are we to ensure this is, someone was asking around, Audrey asked how we can cool it to less than 25 degrees. And I know you answered it in the chat, but maybe you want to answer it on the floor so people can also hear that. Yeah.
No, yeah, thank you very much, and Audrey, thanks for the question. I think our biggest challenge is getting the temperatures down. So the concept of allowing enough airflow at the back of the panel is key. And that's why you see solar farms having gaps at the end. But because of the banks and rows of it, if you look at the physics behind flows, when the flows start from one end, you're not going to get it all through. So there's always the need that in our design, we allow that within the banks, there's a gap that allows the flows to get out of the corridors. And that again becomes a design issue. We are trying to maximize space. By maximizing space, we are accumulating the heat. The current studies on agrivoltaics, where you have plants that need heat under the panel so that they absorb some of the heat. So that's another study. There's another study going on about using a pipe system at the back of these panels so that you extract the heat for heating in spaces. And the cold countries are using it a lot. The only problem with that is that the pipe system imposes its own heat on the back of the panel, and that destroys the cells where these pipe systems are. So people are using tubes, rubber tubes, and the conductivity is low. So there's a lot of investigation going on, but we've not cracked it yet. The crust of it is to get it from the source. You have to understand the fundamentals of the design to maximize the output by reducing the heat, the angle, the spacing, and all those things. And unfortunately, we are not going to crack that in 2 days or in the next few years. There's a lot for us to do. So that's a research topic for some of you to look at with me.
Thank you so much. That was brilliant. And I've seen Ghanaians who have been working on the piping system option as well. I saw that recently on the BBC and I was quite impressed. I guess it's a food for thought, as you said, like we need to start thinking about how, as climate advocates, how are we inspiring innovation as well that are very succinct to the realities that we live in. To Nana, there was a question around what was this? Around the just a pastoralist communities, and I know you covered it, but it would be nice to also hear again. There's a question around, nomads and portable power and solar, and you had a beautiful answer there, but maybe you could share with others.
Yes, thank you, Rukia. So the whole point here is for us to really understand the community lifestyle, understand how do they live day by day, and how is the solution we are proposing will fit with their daily activities or habits. Yeah, because we don't want to provide a system that they will not be able to use, because of their type of activities. So it's really to take the context into consideration. And for the case of nomad communities, who are essentially people who are moving from places to places, they don't necessarily have stay in one place like for very, very long time. We have that example in the northern part of Burkina Faso, where most of these people, they move from places to places because they also have the cattle and animals that they breed along the way. So the whole point here is to really, so providing the portable system here will help them have, enhanced solutions for them to have like power their phones, power, or even there's some water pump, for instance, for water pumping. Sorry for the noise. I think people are in a break now, so the room is getting filled. But yeah, having a portable system, for instance, for water pumping for such communities, that when they move, from places to places, and then they can find like rivers along the way, and maybe they can use these portable water pumps to pump the water or something like that. So those are the considerations you need to take into consideration. And also, if they are fixed, if they are staying in one place all the time, then maybe we can build a more robust fixed solar system to pump the water from a reliable source, underground, and be able to meet their needs.
Thank you so much, Hannah. Opening it up to all of you now. I'm seeing Audrey is has her hand up, and then there's Muhammad, then last there's Irene. So Audrey, welcome.
Yeah, thank you so much, Rukia. Thank you for this opportunity, and thank you so much for the brilliant presentation. I have a question, and it's still linked to what I've asked before. It's related to the Saharan region. In the Sahel, the temperatures are really high, and unfortunately, thanks to the quizzes that we have before, wind power is not an option. Hydropower as well is not an option. So I was still wondering, for a region like that where solar was supposed to be the best option, what can we therefore do, for example, to provide sustainable energy in such areas which are remote? Because even the cooling strategy using agri it could not be the best, because I'm also considering the northern region of Cameroon. There, the temperatures are really high. So are there, for example, options that have worked elsewhere that could be replicated in some of those areas? Thank you so much. Over.
Thank you, Audrey. I don't know who wants to cover the question because Nana, I see
Yeah.
you're on.
Yes. Thank you, Audrey, for that is a very relevant concern. At the moment, the type of solar panels that we are getting into projects in Africa, most of the majority of it comes from either Europe or China. And the way these technologies are produced there, they take into consideration their environment, their weather in those countries. So the technology is adapted for their type of weather they have there, but not really adapted for our cases in the Sahel, where it's very, very, very super hot. And I guess this is also where Africa really needs to step up in taking leadership. Our governments really have to bring a solution to that by imagining us having like regional facilities where we can produce our own solar panels. It means universities, researchers also have to come up with innovation that we can adapt this technology to our own context of hot temperatures or even the sand. I know the Sahel region, we have a lot of dust that also make the solar system not produce enough of the power that it should produce when we install them, because of the dust being on the panels and reducing the output. Yeah. So I would say just for now, I've not seen much of solutions in terms of that, and it's really critical that we also convene researchers and universities to really help us with those things. Even cleaning the solar panels in areas where access to water is also a problem. We really need innovation in that regard. Yeah, that's what I can say on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Nana. And yeah, as we listen in, an encouragement to boost and foster innovation amongst ourselves. And I guess that's the beauty of research, and the whole essence of this this specific training is around, how can we think about research in our own communities and what gaps are we feeling with that research? Like the work that's happening in Ghana with the piping system that's cooling off solar, to some who are putting water sprinklers attached to solar panels to clean access places that are not accessible. But then bringing to the question around Nana that she posed around, what about places where there's, we are having issues around water access and water availability? How do we combat that? So yeah, this is really cool conversations ongoing. There's two questions to Joseph. Mohammed, do you mind raising the question in plenary? Or maybe just Joe, you can answer it. I think Mohammed's struggling with the internet, but his questions around how did you mobilize funds to lead the coal campaign?
Okay. Thank you, Rukia. So basically, our chief sponsor, Rukia is here, Christian is here. We started work on Coal Free Nigeria campaign, getting support from 350 Africa. Thereafter, we got some support from the Global Green Grant Fund, that GGF. Also, because of how well the program were, we also got support from Oil Watch International. So basically, 350 was our seed fund, and as we grew, more partners were involved. We also got some grant from Global Right as well. So basically, it's about having that research. When you have that research, you have your facts, and you're able to write a very good proposal, then you would get support. And maybe Rukia can talk about funding, because 350 was our seed fund.
Thank you, Joe. I think you touched on it. It's purely just partnership, but obviously once you've had like your own proposal on what you want to do, then it helps organizations like 350 or other organizations to not only just support you with a little bit of seed fund, but also connect you to other communities, other organizations that are supporting that kind of piece of work. And over the next days of the training, tomorrow we're actually going to be talking, I mean, not tomorrow, the next session of this training in August, we'll be speaking about action plans. How can we'll offer you a template where you'll be able to use it to now start drafting your own action plan, depending on what you want to do in your community. So there is when you put your budgets, you learn how to craft a budget, craft a messaging, objectives, goals, etc. So stay tuned, don't worry. We'll be helping you through that process as well in the next part of the session. And then ongoing sessions as well, someone will come in specifically to speak about fundraising and how people are fundraising as community groups that started from a 1 or 2 person team to now growing into an organization. How does that look like, and how can you emulate that kind of model of fundraising for your own organization? So hopefully please come through for the next sessions and the next training session so you can be able to get information on those pieces of work. Irene, would you want to pose your question in plenary?
Yes, Rukia. Thank you so much, Rukia, for organizing this session. Thank you, Nana, Emmanuel, and Ibrahim for your insights and very valuable presentations that you've given us this morning. My question is around the role of advocacy and how it's influencing policy. And to you, Joseph, first, and then Nana, you talked of having the strong partnerships with the community, and that really helped you to even influence Dangote now to come and support the community through the EIA, and they were able now to even provide for them better water sources.
Yeah.
Anything around advocating the government to influence the policy and legal framework, so that tomorrow, if there's another organization that is coming, a business partner that is coming, that it will not be the same thing what Dangote or Shaka did by ignoring the community.
Thank you very much, Irene. And yes, so basically, I was speaking about how research has helped us to build a very strong partnership with the community, and we have more trust with the community. So some of the work that we did around policy was, first and foremost, we started by ensuring that as part of the pressure and holding their policymakers to account, we facilitated that engagement between the community and those who represent them at the grassroots in government. So we started that conversation, and that was why there was a lot of pressure on the federal government, and they now ask the coal mining company to go and do another set of environmental impact assessment. So all of this we started in 2019. But at the moment, as an organization, that work has also helped us because right now we are working nationally to get the Environmental Impact Assessment Act in the country reviewed. The one that is currently being operated was enacted in 1992. And you will believe me that since 1992, the world has evolved. A lot of things have happened. Climate change was not a big conversation there and all of that. So we are already working with the National Assembly in Nigeria to review that policy. And all of this is some of the experiences that we had on the ground, working with coal impacted communities and fossil fuel impacted communities. And some of those experiences and input, we have made recommendations for the review. And that proposition that we have made has passed first reading at the National Assembly, and we continue to follow up. So yes, we are engaging and we are translating those work from the community to policy frameworks. Thank you.
Thank you. And my next question to Nana. Nana, your conversation has left me thinking at grassroots level, will we achieve much if we do not change this conversation to the national level, where we need to also influence community? Why? Because you mentioned we need homegrown solutions. We don't need to import what's coming from China or Europe. And you brought in a very good and important part, that the role of the academia, what they can play, the universities in research and stuff like that. So I'm asking myself, Morocco, a case study you've just shared with us, being the largest solar farm, do you know whether they're doing anything in terms of innovation within their universities? And in Africa, how can we then, here now, we want to move into this space of renewable energy. How can we influence that our governments are ensuring that research moves to the academic part so that we have something which is homegrown?
Thank you. Very relevant question. The case of Morocco with the large solar farm, it's a CSPS, concentrated solar. Maybe I can show an image. A concentrated solar power system, which is called the CSP. So this is not photovoltaic, as most of us know the photovoltaic that we put on rooftops and etc. So that is not the photovoltaic, but the CSP technology. So the CSP is much more tailored for like industry need, because it produces a lot of it can produce high power, and it's much more suited for like industrial needs. And that technology it can even be assembled locally, because it's mainly based on mirrors. We can find mirrors locally in most of in the countries, and just assemble the mirrors with some rotating system that rotates the mirror towards the sun. As the sun moves throughout the day, the mirrors are also facing the sun to produce as much energy as possible. So that is something that is very much doable locally. We don't have to import that system, like in the case of the photovoltaic that fully comes from outside. Yeah. But the constraint with the CSP is that it needs a clear sky. When there is what is it called, clouds, when there are some clouds on the sky, then it really makes that technology less efficient compared to the PV system. And that's the the constraint we have with it, with the CSP, and it needs a big land where you will install the mirrors and do the rotating, mechanically rotating. Yeah. So even in Burkina Faso, at the university, the researchers, the doctors there, they have been working on installing those kind of systems at the university and making pilot studies and showcasing and etc. So it's really, really very important that I would say we can even bring the universities in this kind of discussions to also share what they are doing in terms of innovations for campaigners to pick up on because it needs attention. The government needs to put attention to what is done in the universities, put the money there to develop. If we look carefully, we might find real good solutions, but they're hidden, they are not seen, there is no visibility of them. They are not financed, and so they just remain little projects somewhere, you know. That's where we also have to advocate to bring more attention to the locally grown solutions, put more money. I'm sure China is where it is now because a lot of efforts have been put into developing those solutions, the money, the legal framework to really boost this kind of reflection from researchers, from academia, and make it happen for them. So I'm sorry, there was a second part to your question, I think.
No, I basically just wanted to see if from Morocco, because of that large farm, that could they be having an intervention within the universities? Because it looks like what we are doing, if we do not anchor it through research within our university to train our people, even how to even use that solar, because even a small example where Emmanuel was saying he comes to Nairobi and he's seeing that the solar, instead of facing north, they're facing south. That's just something, I mean, something is amiss with even the technical aspect of it. So I wanted to know, Morocco being there, do they really have a university already doing something to bring us homegrown solutions?
Well, I'm not sure of that. I don't know much of the details on how they collaborated with the university, but I want to believe that they have associated universities that students are able to conduct some of their theses around these kind of systems there. But it's not really like very, very high technology in itself, because like I said, the components are just mirrors actually. And maybe it's the rotating system that has to be automatic, that needs more in detail technicality for it to work. So I wanted to show an image, but the one I can find here are not very clear. Yes, maybe.
Did you find it?
Yeah, they are
You
not
can
clear.
also send it to me, and we can send it an email that also works. So don't feel pressured at all.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah,
I'll do that. Yeah. So I'm not sure of the details of how they collaborated locally or nationally with the universities, but I want to believe that they did some collaboration. Yeah, and it's also our role as activists to involve academia and universities in our work and advocate for them also to have access to funding, to the right laws that encourage their work to be amplified and make impact.
Thank you so much, Nana. I think that's a very good segue to just the closure of this space. I know it was like 1.5 hours, but it felt like we needed more time with you, Nana, Joseph, and Dr. Emmanuel as well, and just obviously the brilliant people who are here and the wisdom that's already in the room itself. So we have 2 minutes, and I want to give it just this time to maybe just ask us to like use a reaction button and just show our appreciation for the panelists that came to to this space and this training, and also an appreciation to yourself. So if you can click your reaction and just express how you're feeling so far now that after this session, what's your emoji? What are you feeling? Are you happy? Are you explorative? Are you inspired? Like, how is it going? Yeah, I'm also feeling the same way. Good vibes. Good. So thank you so much again, Nana. And as you know, please check out the work that Nana's doing. And Emmanuel, I'll put their names here again. Follow them on LinkedIn if you can. They post a lot of amazing work of what they do. So if you can look them up on LinkedIn, you can get a lot of work they're doing there. So Joseph Ibrahim, Nana Safiatou, and Dr. Emmanuel. So please check them out and the different work that they do and the organizations as well. So obviously, as we close, I just want to like focus on just the next steps. So if you haven't registered to the Africa VUCA network, please do so. Just go to africavuca.org, Africa with a K, and you'll be able to join the network, and you can join your network. So register. You can either join as an individual or as a local group that you have. Secondly, the materials and recording will be shared by the end of this day, so please don't worry. Some slides might not be shared, but the recording will have a sense of the slides, so please don't stress about that. But we'll share any links or resources, and then we will always continue sharing via that group and also the WhatsApp. Then lastly, just encourage your teammates to join and register for the next session. Like I said, the next session is about the making a plan. So this will need quite a team effort because we might go into like either your team or your region, and you'll sit down with Lynn, Christian, some of my colleagues as well here to really dive in on how can we put all we've learned and what we're thinking about into a very viable plan that we can use for not only fundraising, but also resource mobilization, but also just purely planning that can help you maybe draft a 1-year, 2-year plan for what work you want to do in your community. So please keep an eye on that. That will be happening on August 7th. And then lastly, there is a WhatsApp group. I believe the link was sent to your email. If you're yet to join the WhatsApp group, please do that. It helps us coordinate, just making sure that we're all on the same page ahead of the session. And yeah, I think if you're not following up us on social media, please do. Find us on Africa VUCA Network in all social media platforms, and yeah, follow us there and keep tracks. Tag us if you like the event or the sessions and you want to like connect with us. Please also connect with us on social media. Yeah, cool. So with that, I want to just say a big gratitude to Nana and in a session, and you still came through. So thank you so much. Thank you, Joseph Ibrahim. Thank you, Dr. Emmanuel. And thank you, Kiki, our interpreter. I know you're like juggling 2 pieces of work, but I appreciate you showing up and helping us with this session. And then a massive thank you to my teammates, Christian, Lynn, and Lute, who are also in the room supporting us in the background. Great. Have a good rest of your week. And yeah, see you in August 7th. But before then, see you on WhatsApp and the different spaces we'll be occupying. Thank you all.
Thank you, Rukia. Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you, Nana. Thank you, Rukia.
Bye.
Thank you,
Thank you
Rukia.
so much.
Bye.